This video is brought to you by Hungry Root. What's Hungry Root, you ask? Why, it's a meal delivery service that'll send you packaged, delicious meals straight to your door, ready for you to cook at a moment's notice. And I'm gonna do something a little different here because unlike many of the other meal subscription services that we've been sponsored by, I really like this one. When I opened up this box, they gave me an entire pantry worth of food. Just food after food after food. And yes, it does come with easy to read, easy to reproduce instructions on how to produce that food. Hungry Root is a good way to go, like legitimately. They cover all sorts of dietary restrictions, whether you're like me and you're trying to go high protein, low carb, if you're vegetarian, pescatarian, they got you covered and they send you so much food. And you can go to hungryroot.com right now and use the code 4StarBento at checkout to get 40% off your first box plus a free gift for the rest of your life. And it's of your choice too. Like, you get to choose it. I don't know what they are. You choose. Go check it out. That's the only way to see the options from what I gathered. So check it out. hungryroot.com. Use the code 4StarBento at checkout. This is a legitimate, like, I am actually endorsing this. I legitimately enjoyed it. Don't tell any of our other meal sponsors.
I like these three, like,
thruple.
together as main characters. Yes, I love this thruple.
The polycule.
Hitting up the polycule to go on a cool adventure.
So, Jesse, you haven't seen the Mortal Kombat movie?
I don't know what Mortal Kombat really is.
What?
It's a video game.
Correct. Okay, you had me worried for a second.
Mortal Kombat from The Last of Us?
I don't understand.
Ellie has a friend that really likes Mortal Kombat, and so they make it a big thing in the show where she finds a
So it isn't
Mortal
a TV
Kombat
show thing.
like
Okay.
video game, and she's like, "Oh, my friend told me about this."
It's weird that they reference... Yeah, that's right, they did. It's weird that they reference Mortal Kombat and not some other property. I mean, I guess Sony doesn't own any of the old arcade companies, so they had to reference something, but... Interesting that they chose Mortal Kombat. Anyway, 1995, there was a movie that came out. I loved it as a kid. I have not seen it in forever.
I loved it specifically one summer where I was in the fucking boonies at a relative's place, and this was one of the VHSs that was there, and it's one that me and my sibling had on repeat for like a while that summer, to the point where like the relative said, "Don't watch that anymore," and took it away.
I love those VHSs where they're like running on the rails. They're like broken down because you watch them over and over and over, and your parents are like, "Stop."
So yeah, there was just one summer in like the mid 2000s, like 2006, 7-ish, where I watched this movie a lot. And I haven't watched it since.
I watched this like when I was 7 or 8 years old, all the time, like as soon as it came out on VHS, rented it at Blockbuster. I loved it. Jesse, what do you know about Mortal Kombat other than the fact that it featured in The Last of Us?
That's it. So Mortal Kombat is a game where a bunch of friends come together and they fight, and Chun-Li is there. And she's in blue. And then there's also a guy that says, "Come here." And he grabs him with a big chain.
All right,
You said one correct thing.
you got the basic notes, I guess. So
I'll tell you now, Chun-Li is not in this, or in anything Mortal Kombat related.
Oh no! What game
because
is
that's
that?
Street Fighter.
Okay, what about the Come Here guy?
it's Get Over Here.
Get over here! Get over here! And his name is Scorpion, and yes, he's in Mortal Kombat.
And you'll hear that.
I can't name another character in Mortal Kombat. That was gonna be
you
my
didn't
three.
name that character. So.
Who's the main character, Jesse? Who's the main character of Mortal Kombat?
Who's
the hero?
Ryu.
That's Street Fighter 2.
God damn
That's
it.
also Street Fighter.
And Street Fighter 2.
We'll have to watch the Street Fighter movie, and then you'll name all the Mortal Kombat facts. Anyway,
was one of the options.
Let's go ahead and show you the 1995, in my opinion, first good video game movie.
We'll test your might.
All right, Jesse. Now you've seen Mortal Kombat.
I have.
Do you know more about it now?
Yes.
Okay.
I know Chun-Li is
What
not
have you
here.
learned?
Yeah, what have you learned? What have you learned about Mortal Kombat?
Chun-Li is not here.
True.
There's not a lot of violence in Mortal Kombat, I guess.
Not a lot of gruesome violence.
Johnny was a lot more tolerable than I thought he was going to be. I said in there, but I expected him to be like the stereotype of like I'm cool and I'm quippy and I'm the best person on the planet, but they really played him for laughs, and I really appreciate that because it made him genuinely more likable.
Yeah, they really made him kind of like the underdog character in all of the fights that he was in. He had to boom.
No fucking way.
Be creative to win, which I kind of like as like the acting side of things, because his whole arc is that he's an actor, and the world looks at him like, oh, he's a fake, like he's not a real martial artist. Maybe at one point he was, and his supposedly his master shows up to give him the invitation to the most renowned underground kumite tournament. So he's kind of like playing this almost like this Van Damme-esque character, but like thrown into an actual mystical martial arts tournament.
Yeah, somewhere between Van Damme and Chuck Norris.
Yeah, Hollywood actor who is a legitimate martial artist, but the world looks at him as like, he's just an actor.
Yeah.
Real meta, but... What the fuck is this? Am I in the Goonies? Is this Temple of Doom?
You have 30 seconds to go through the maze.
The Shrine of the Silver Monkey.
Look out, it's a Temple Guardian!
Welcome!
Legend of the Hidden Temple, but like there's things that come out and like actually attack the children.
Honestly, Legend of the Hidden Temple, but mixed with like American Gladiators would fucking slap.
That'd be awesome, yeah. And I had joked about, this being about a bunch of friends who come together to fight, but you know what? That's what the movie turned out to be. So
Kinda. They weren't friends at first though.
right.
Yeah, they were all antagonistic against each other. Johnny was being like, "Hey, you, strangely buff Asian boy, carry my bags for me," and Liu Kang ain't having none of that shit.
I think the real friends are the Mortal Kombat that we made along the way.
It's true.
Yeah, surprising, they got a lot of characters in there, but like surprisingly few in like the main cast. Like,
I feel like if you
Raiden barely did anything.
Yeah, I feel like if you add too many, it starts to get like overly complicated, which is a problem with a lot of modern. Like we just saw Kraven, too many characters.
Yeah,
spoiled the entire movie. Like this, you had a core cast and enough like kind of cameo characters spattered in there, but they didn't like amount to a whole lot. Some of them were just like fight fodder.
Finally, I get to kill people.
Now, we can't show me doing anything because the animatronic isn't that good.
it's really good.
It is, but we have to save the shots of me actually doing things.
It's very difficult.
Like even Scorpion and Sub-Zero, all they were fight scenes and like effects.
That's kind of the nature of a tournament movie. Not that this movie like kind of spends a long time though, like kind of doing things outside of the tournament format, which is kind of odd.
Well, we also discussed that like the tournament itself doesn't really have a format. There's no bracket.
Yeah, like it's and like that kind of hurts the drama of the tournament. Not that this movie cares too much.
No, it just wanted excuses to do fight scenes, and it found them. So
yeah, but yeah, no, for the tournament part of it, I was just like, people are randomly fighting, I guess. I don't know who's in what order or who's next.
There wasn't a bracket. We just kind of learned the rules as they went. It's like, no. They each get to challenge the person that they want to fight next.
Yeah. Which wasn't established until like just before the third act.
Yeah, just near the end. And Liu Kang and Kitana have a fight, and they don't really resolve that. It's like, I guess that one's a draw. Who moves up? Who wins? Who loses? I don't know. This is a nice first date.
Kitana, that's enough.
Stop! Don't have sex! Don't!
Save room for Jesus.
Not very wise.
I consent. And Shinxin, I don't.
Is there someone you forgot to ask?
And some fights are death matches, some aren't, like you said, like you just established, and also like some fights take place at in a stadium or a
in front of people,
and some don't have an arena at all.
Yeah, like Johnny Cage and Scorpion just fight in this awesome looking forest.
Yeah, very photogenic forest.
And then they teleport to like Hell Temple.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, it kind of added some feel to it because it felt like a bunch of like teenagers playing Mortal Kombat. And one guy is like, let's have a tournament. I don't know what the rules are. Let's all just like have fun.
Yeah. And like To go back to that, like the forest, the set work in this, I loved this movie as a kid. I still enjoy it now. Probably less so than when I was a kid because action movies have evolved.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really stands out to me is the set work. There are so many amazing practical sets in this movie that like you just don't get that much anymore, and I miss that.
There's a lot of like the old way movies were made stuff in here that is like kind of sad to not see anymore.
Yeah, the budget really went into building a lot of these sets or finding locations to shoot at. And everything just felt so purposeful and not like fake. I know like a lot of this is still like matte painting, but just like the blend is so good.
I also miss matte paintings. Like I kind of want to make a movie like with just the aesthetic of like 80s and 90s films.
Fucking bags.
I wonder if that was in
shitting and pissing.
Now, part of me is wondering if that's in the script or if that's the actor literally just kind of fucking that up. And just kept it in because it's like, you know what, that's funny.
Yeah, like even like the silly little movie like this, it feels so cinematic to just be in a cool location and like just a great like real location and film there. Like that, I was saying it throughout the like that's a visual effect in and of itself, just a great location.
Yeah, there are some places that they put in there that like even were only there for one scene. The ship, like the underbelly of the ship, it had that cool little rickety bridge in the middle that
Hanging
who knows what's
chains for
under
no
there. The
reason.
hanging chains, all the blue lighting.
They love blue.
So much blue.
Yeah, the location does a lot of heavy lifting. Like that made me think about like White Lotus or something, where like if you just get to a cool location, it just like you feel in
just
it
sells
because
it.
because you're literally like there, you know.
Yeah, like Stephan, you've been watching a lot of Western movies lately, right? Like
Yeah.
in Westerns, the scenery is as much part of the movie as the characters. And
Yeah.
it felt like that for this, even though like this movie wasn't really trying to tell like a deep plot like narrative.
Yeah. Like the scenery in westerns is usually a lot cheaper to find, which is part of why.
Well, yeah,
so
it's
many
just
are made.
big, wide open
Yeah,
spaces.
but like here they had like they went to islands that had just interesting.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time in the South Pacific for sure.
There was a great temple they went to that was clearly very real and ancient that they spent at least like 2 days on location at. But like it just that location scouting, I hope the location scouts got paid well because they found amazing places to film.
Oh, for sure.
And again, like the sets that were built were very good, like very nice. The choreography was very hit or miss.
Yeah, every now and again you get like a really good stunt set, but then I mean it's directed by Paul Anderson, who would go on to do a lot of other video game movies, notably the Resident Evil movies.
I believe Paul W.S. Anderson.
Well, yeah, but in this he's just credited as Paul Anderson.
I'm just making that distinction for people out there who are like,
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson? No, not Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, he would go on to do like a lot. Like he was like the better Uwe Boll, I guess, in that sense, where he was directing video
Yes.
game movies that were much more competent, higher budget.
He gave more of a shit.
Yes.
I think he gave less of a shit as time went on.
I think he just kind of decided to have fun as time went on. Certainly, like I that absolutely translates to giving less of a
Like
shit. But
Uwe Boll was just there for the grift of using productions to.
I don't know.
launder
Like
money.
he absolutely was in it for the money, but he believed his own shit. Like he believed his own hype for sure. Like he was the guy that challenged critics to a boxing match because he was
thought
so
his shit
insulted.
didn't stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like Paul W. Anderson, like, you know, he clearly with Mortal Kombat, he gave like he put more work into this than it feels like he ever did again.
I still kind of stand the first Resident Evil movie. Like I don't know how long it's been since either of you've seen it or if you've ever seen it, but I feel like we'll have to if I have to defend its honor.
The first one is a different movie than most of that series, which is just a money printing machine, it seems.
After the second one, for sure. Like once they stop giving a shit about like, we can talk about that if we ever talk about Resident Evil. I have a tirade I can go on because I saw all of this because I worked in a movie theater when most of them were coming out.
I'd have to see a still from it
There's like
in order to know
6
if I've
to
seen
8
it or
of them,
not.
right?
There's like 6 of his movies for sure. I think. But back to Mortal Kombat. Jesse, did you have like who were your standout characters? Because this movie was like the actors just got to chew the scenery as much as they wanted, and I love that about this movie.
Is Peacemaker in this game?
He is.
you imagine all
in the recent one, I think.
Can you imagine all the DLC characters?
I can't wait for him to show up. John Cena. They got to make a 2024 version of this where they green screen him in. Yeah, I think all of the main characters I liked in their own individual ways. I love Liu Kang. I think he's a beautiful man who did
Great
everything
pro tag.
right. Yeah.
Robin Show, he deserved to have more of a career after this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's disappointing that he did not.
Yeah.
Because of the industry. Johnny, I actually liked. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I'm gonna hate this man because like I'm expecting a 90s and early aughts thing of just I'm the protagonist and I'm not gonna have a personality. But he had a personality and it was great and he stuck with it. I love like. Especially nowadays, there's this thing where actors are afraid to look stupid, and it really affects the kind of performances they give and the roles that they get. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that actor didn't care about looking stupid because there were some things that we were like, did he improv that? I don't know, but it made him look dumber in a good way. You know?
Nobody gave it. No, I don't think anybody cared about looking stupid. Like everybody had their own level of extra. My personal favorite is always going to be Shang Tsung in this.
Your brother's soul is mine. You will be next.
The only person I think might care about whether or not they look stupid is I think Christopher Lambert.
The great tournament was too much responsibility. But vengeance, that's so much simpler.
I love what he does with his voice in this.
Did you expect the white guy?
No.
To play the Japanese God of Thunder.
Who I think his idea of looking cool is a little skewed, but
he was I feel like he was hamming it up in his own way.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Weird to make that a catchphrase.
The only funny like. I'm sure it's part of the movie and it's part of the charm of it, but it was very funny seeing like a 100-pound woman like beat the shit out of like
Kano.
these guys. Yeah,
He's one of my other favorites. He's not in the movie for long, but every scene he's in, he's also my favorite parts. Like Kano, the character, is also my favorite part of the Mortal Kombat reboot that they dropped. Like I don't know, something about just like a crass Aussie dude. I also loved his knife. I saw that fucking knife that he had in this movie in every. You remember going to like malls in the 90s and there would always be that one like knife store. Yeah. I always remember that just being in the window of those stores. I was like, I want that knife. It's a super impractical knife. Like it's awful. There's no way you're going to keep it sharp ever. But it's a really cool looking prop knife.
It was the Link sword.
Yeah.
yeah. It was the Link sword of that time.
It's like it's super edgelord. It's got like 1,000 little like whooshes that stick out that are all sharp. Like clearly it's something that's only meant for violence, which fits the character. I love his character. I wish he had more, which is why he's the best character in the later Mortal Kombat movie, the one that came out like a couple years back.
His chest hair fucking ruled.
I know.
I love it so much.
As going back to like how like when we were doing like the Kraven shoots, I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror and like way too much time Googling like, Henry Cavill and
what's the tasteful amount of chest hair to
like
have?
what kind of chest hair should I have for this shoot, because there were going to be parts where I was shirtless and I'm like, I need to figure that shit out. Like what's the Hollywood appropriate look? And I'm like, okay, so I kind of settled on something, and he had a choice. Like he had the divot, it looked like he had like a big kind of cleavage hex, and then it turned into a happy trail.
Yeah, it's like an arrow that just got really long at the point.
Yeah, it went all the way down.
It looks like an upside down fucking caltrop on his chest.
It was a strong choice.
Yes.
Give it up, baby. I've studied all your moves.
Yeah, study this.
I studied all your moves. You shoot people.
I thought she was just going to pull out her gun and shoot him like 8 times.
I mean, if he's allowed to have a weapon, why shouldn't she, right?
Yeah.
A lot of great physiques in this movie. The 90s action aesthetic was still going super strong.
There's a whole line of guys just going...
like 300 style, just greased up men showing off.
Very homoerotic.
Very.
I like the tanks that they put Lou in, but I was wondering, are we gonna get someone in a slutty little crop top? What are we gonna? I don't think anyone wore a crop top.
We never quite got a crop top.
Yeah.
We were too far past the 80s for that.
Yeah. Although Lou did still have the 80s action hero hair.
Yeah.
And then they gave Sonya 80s hair at the end.
Yeah, the big 80s, like, blown out, Saved by the Bell hair.
Yeah.
I guess that was still 90s, so.
Yeah. Yeah, the hairspray was still very popular.
Yeah, Clarissa explains it all. Clueless style hair.
Volume.
Very volume. But only after she got kidnapped.
Which was such, like, it rings so hollow, like, all of a sudden
It
she's
is-
like, ah!
She has that great "let me go" scream.
She's great at
fantastic.
screaming. It's just bullshit that it just sort of happened.
It is weird that she's portrayed as this very tough character who took out this 240-pound guy.
Yeah, but
that's like
suddenly
twice
a
her
man
size.
can grab her by the hair and she does nothing to fight back.
Yeah, I would have bought it if he had used some like trickery, some type of magic or something to do it.
Just do a little fight.
Yeah, just
That's what the movie's full of.
Yeah.
I know that it was probably going on like bless this movie. It's only a little over an hour and a half long. So it's not like today where you have to go sit down for Kraven the Hunter for like nearly 3 hours. And so I guess they wanted to save all of the actual fight scenes for. I'm not sure if that actress like did much in terms of like fight choreography, but it's clear that they wanted to highlight Robin Show.
Yes.
Oh.
Hair got so
This is-
big. They
Why-
had so much hairspray in the
This is-
whatever. It's
She
called.
like Shang Tsung had to purposely dress her like that and get her hair like that.
Yeah, they had to like spray her hair like crazy.
Also, when did you get my measurements for this suit?
I actually love fashion. I could tell your measurements just by looking at you in a not weird way.
And I get that, but like, yeah, it's still like a very like clearly misogynistic choice to be like, and the woman gets captured.
Yes, and then gets bimboified. We got it.
And yet
She's
at
a girl
And yet
now.
at the same time, she's like the tough girl throughout like the entirety of the movie. You could just hear people like if this
Except
movie,
that one scene.
yeah, you could hear people complaining about it, like the fucking chuds on the internet complaining about this movie if it came out nowadays.
Like, she wouldn't be able to beat Kano. Look at her fucking, like, twiggy legs.
Mortal Kombat is woke bullshit. And, in this video essay, I will.
Let's say for the sake of argument.
It is strange though. Like we did talk about the fact that this movie isn't as violent as you would expect from Mortal Kombat. I remember when I was a kid, I thought it was rated R, but I guess it never was.
Oh yeah, no way. Like one thing is like it was a huge controversy at the time, like to the point where people were like lawmakers were almost like going to like seriously get
Lieberman.
involved until the the rating system
that
brought in.
Like there was a big tirade like Mortal Kombat's super violent. It's
Mortal
just rated
Kombat created the ESRB essentially.
Yes.
Rating system by existing.
Yeah,
it would have happened eventually because also the Night Trap I believe was also one of the games. That caused people to like.
Yeah, it was
freak out
that
about
early
that.
'90s like freak out. It was after they were done complaining about gangster rap and they needed the next big thing to complain about.
Which is very
It
funny.
always comes back too. Like that argument always finds its way back.
And there was a very similar thing that happened with comics, where like they're like you're either going to police yourselves or we're going to police you. It happened with movies as well. There's always some sort of moral panic around a new media.
Yeah.
It's actually almost kind of surprising that the internet is just so wild and untamed that it's hard to do that to the internet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I always have trivia for some subjects.
But yeah, it does make sense that this movie would be rated PG-13 because this game,
They
the
probably
game
wanted
was
to, like,
very
shake a little bit of their reputation. Of,
well,
like,
not even that, but it's just the fact that the game was very popular with preteens and teens.
and it was easier for teens to get their hands on any kind of game at the time. But like in a movie, if you're not the right age, you can't get into a rated R movie.
My parents bought me Mortal Kombat when I was a kid. Like I was playing that shit on the Genesis. That one had the blood. You didn't even have to enter the code.
Yeah. It's very funny because like what the movie ended up being is like a lot of violence, but like there's one little trickle of blood on someone's mouth,
very
and that's it.
it's very relatively kid friendly.
There's a lot of implied violence and non-bloody violence. Like Sub-Zero was frozen when he was impaled, so he didn't bleed. Scorpion, when Johnny was finishing him off, he was a skeleton, so you're allowed to slice open his head and cut him open so he can bleed his bright orange lava blood and explode. Fucking loved that.
That was the
it's
best
honestly
scene in the
barely
movie.
even a PG-13 movie. It's like it almost could be like PG with like parental like basic parental guidance needed.
Yeah. Yes.
He bleeds fire.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, goo! Goo!
Fuck yeah.
Yes!
Get him.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my hand!
I love this.
Fuck yeah!
That is actually a good bit to end on.
I know, I love it so much. And then we're back to the sand pit.
Best part of the movie so far.
Johnny Cage has to climb his
And
way out of
also
it.
that there was no context for that. It just happened.
Yeah, Johnny Cage has to climb. That wasn't even a sanctioned match. That
Oh
just
my
happened.
God.
So they really played it safe, which Paul W.S. Anderson, I think, does less of in the future.
Yeah, I mean when he's just kind of like when
yeah.
he's well into his established career and he's just casting
When
his
there's a
wife
lot
and
less on
everything.
the line.
Yeah. Like I'm just gonna make a Monster Hunter movie. I've never seen that. So like,
Yeah. That also, like, I would say, like, straight up bad choice was Reptile.
yeah,
One of the few choices I just say should not have made that choice.
because you're right. He could have just been another ninja stalking them.
And it would have been better.
Yeah,
It
because
would've been better.
they still could have had that fight scene, and they could have just like given him some like facial makeup, make him look like a slee stack from like Land of the Lost or something.
Yeah, and they could have had him like going invisible throughout the movie and like still doing all
Yeah,
that stuff.
do the Predator
and not
shimmer.
being a shitty CG effect that just
It is
didn't look good at the time, doesn't look good now.
It is the worst CG because it's so in your face when they're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, it's the worst CG in the movie.
It
but
looks like that gecko from that '90s kids entertainment show. I forget what it was called.
It looks like something out of Reboot or Beast Wars.
Yeah.
There you go. 90s. Like there were a lot of CGI that felt like that.
What were you gonna say?
we were talking about how like a lot of the effects in the movie surprisingly still hold up really well. Like
For its era, like you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's a 90s
There's
effect
like,
and
there's
it
like
works.
a stylism, but it works.
Like
Yeah.
post Ghostbusters After Effects, basically. And the movie really does well with that, and it works enough with practical effects at the same time. Like when Johnny's cutting up Scorpion, his little like wrist dagger snake thing looks silly, but it also looks stylized enough that you don't really mind it.
Also, once that thing dies, he just doesn't do it again. So I guess he just had one.
Yeah, maybe it takes a while to regrow. Who knows? I mean, like, if you think about it, that thing is, like, if he used it in the arena that they ended up in, Johnny's just fucking done.
Now, in the games, aren't Scorpion and Sub-Zero brothers who are trying to kill each other?
Not brothers, but they are of rival clans.
Okay, and they're trying to kill each other all the time. Like, they
Yes.
hate each other.
Yeah, so Sub-Zero and Scorpion are
The brothers
opposed.
thing might have been me getting my wires crossed from what I thought they were in the movie when I was a kid.
No, you might be thinking of Annihilation, where where Sub-Zero's younger brother does show up.
Yeah, I might getting that mixed up too. But yeah, I do know that Scorpion and Sub-Zero hate each other and want to kill each other in the games.
but in the movie they walk in together, right?
Yeah.
Because they're working for Shang Tsung. Because they like, again, before this movie came out, the games did have like a lore.
Usually each
But-
character, like in the Street Fighter format, like has a motivation to be there that you learn.
Yeah.
And, like a basic.
Like if
story.
you play through if you play through the game as that character, you'll get like here's a wall of crawling text. But I'll be honest, I don't think anybody paid attention to that back then, and I clearly don't think that the writers of this cared too much about most of the characters. This movie did more for Mortal Kombat's lore than any of the previous games, because after that, after this movie came out, they actually started focusing more and more on the cinematics and the story, and now we have NetherRealm the way we are now, where basically you play through one of their fighting games, and it's like a movie, which is really what I like about their games. Like, they actually have a story mode.
Yeah, well, and like I know the latest one like did like a huge thing with their whole story. I believe like
Yeah, it started at the end of 11 when finally we're going to end this story mode, and Mortal Kombat 1, Liu Kang is now a god, and he reboots the timeline.
yeah, there's a long-standing chronology up to that point.
Does he wear a slight little tank top?
Probably.
I think he's usually shirtless.
A lot of the times, yeah. I mean, nowadays he has multiple costumes for sure, but...
I'm a member of the Polycule now.
Oh!
The Emperor, Shao Kahn.
Weak, pathetic fools. I've come for your souls.
I don't think so.
Sequel bait! This movie is a fucking gem. I still love it. Even after watching it now, like I was kind of worried going into it, like, oh no, is this going to age poorly? Because I still have such fond memories of it. It's been well over a decade since I've last seen it. But going back in, no, I still love it. I love all of the cheesy shit, all of the like scene-chewing acting, the practical effects, especially the puppeteering of Goro, which is still impressive to me.
Yeah. You know, it's really fun the whole way through, so I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I'd enjoy watching it alone as an adult.
No, I'm glad we were here like chatting about it together.
Yeah. A lot of movies, it seems like that. Even no matter what time period they're from, some movies are just better when you're with friends and you can like talk and riff on it and stuff. Like sitting alone is a different vibe. Especially
this one where the plot is so hero's journey played by paint by numbers that you don't really have to focus. To get it.
Yeah. I could sit here and be on my phone for half of it, or like.
It's the new Netflix model.
we were engaged the whole time.
That I can't tell you how like that when they talked about that information of like we need movies that people can watch on their
while they're doing other things.
While they're doing other things, like if anyone ever told me that, I would punch them in the face.
I don't want to make a movie like that.
That about something I want to make. I will hurt you.
Look, we live in a post-Skibbity toilet world, all right?
No, if you make movies that people want to watch the entire time, otherwise you're failing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're up.
I was gonna say that someone's gonna come out that's gonna be really passionate about like, I want to make movies that people can be on Instagram at the same time and watch. That's what I want to do.
The sad thing is there is a market for that, and as long as there is a market for that type of content, it will be produced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just something to put on in the background. There are shows that, like, granted, I'll watch through them, like, once. But right now, I have Hunter x Hunter playing in the background. Not even dubbed. I know what's happening in Japanese. I've seen that show so many times. But it's on in the background for me right now.
But the first time I watched it, it was an active watch.
Yes.
Because the thing is, like, you don't have to try to make things that people can be on their phones at the same time. There's so much that...
If you make something that's great, people will put it on again and again.
Yeah, or you could just put on whatever's playing on the television.
But you can also make like there is an appetite for I call it like trash television, basically like empty calorie media, like like a lot of sitcoms fall into that. Things like, Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon. I don't know why I chose two of the same franchise.
Yeah, no, again, it's just one of those things I don't understand because I don't like any of that stuff.
And that's fair.
I don't like reality TV. I don't like any of that.
But it's that kind of thing that can be on in the background, just there to occupy people's time and throw advertisements in there. Like that is unfortunately the kind of like the corporate media world that we exist in.
But movies should not be that.
Movies should not be that.
I agree. I think movies like. Especially movies, if you're going to put it out in a theater, it needs to be something that'll engage you.
Like, to a certain extent, that's what this is.
Yes.
But like,
and it is engaging.
But like, we're not putting millions of dollars into it. We're just sitting on a fucking couch talking.
Yeah, this is an awesome, like, have a drink with some friends, get ready to just like, if somebody hasn't seen it before, like the only reason we decided this is, Jesse, you knew nothing about Mortal Kombat apparently and have never seen this.
How dare you? Don't you remember our conversation at the beginning
where you said that Ryu and Chun-Li were in Mortal Kombat?
Two characters. Name two characters in Mortal Kombat. Chun-Li.
And you were like kind of confident. Ryu, I know Ryu.
I knew Ryu. Once we watch whatever that movie is, I'll be like,
Street Fighter.
It's Ryu.
It's the other fighting game franchise that you know. You only know two.
Yes.
I know you only know two.
There are a
Smash
lot
Brothers.
of like this did open the door for a bunch of fighting game movies. I don't remember if Street Fighter 2 was before or after this, honestly. I think it was before. I think Street Fighter the movie was before this. The Van Damme
Street Fighter the
one.
movie I believe was a year before this.
Yeah, and then this came out. It is a better movie. I don't know if it's more entertaining, but it is better.
I think Street Fighter might be more funny to watch.
Maybe we'll have to dip into that.
I don't know.
Might
have to be the next one.
If like let us know, I guess. I don't know.
We'll have already filmed it.
We'll absolutely have already filmed it. But
do you want it? You can go watch it right
now. Anyway.
There was also like a Dead or Alive movie. I remember watching it and being like, because I was pubescent boy at the time, and it being not as what I wanted it to be. Just
I mean, did you want women with big jugs
yes.
playing volleyball?
I wanted more of that.
They didn't have a lot of that?
They did not. They did
What
not.
else would there be?
I don't know, man.
It's so funny because I could watch your brain being like, what word for boobs do I want to use? Let's go through the Rolodex. Jugs.
I feel like there was a Tekken movie too, like one specifically like following Nina for some reason, but I off the top of my head I cannot recall.
There also is a Chun-Li movie.
There was
Starring
The Legend of
Christian
Chun-Li. I did not see it, so
Nobody did.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh.
no, I don't know any of this shit, but I've never heard of a Chun-Li movie.
There is a Chun-Li
I
movie.
wanted you to pop in like, who's Chun-Li?
My favorite character in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, still such a very special movie. Even when the effects are bad, I think it's like charmingly bad.
Yeah, yeah.
The set work, amazing. Choreography, hit or miss, but I still love this movie.
Yeah, I'll be entertained by even the worst choreography because it's goofy, you know? Like, even if I'm like, that shouldn't work physics that way.
Christopher Lambert's accent all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the charm of Christopher Lambert, I think.
Okay, let's go with this. Favorite part of the movie?
Ooh, the fight scene with lava and exploding skulls.
A scorpion.
That ripped.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That one's way up there for me for sure. As a kid, like I love big damn hero moments when Liu Kang shows up at the end. I also love the set, the final fight set with the spikes coming up out of the ground.
Yeah. You pointed out it looks really cool with like it coming out of the tinfoil.
Yeah,
or whatever
you see it like kind of like
you know?
rending the ground with it.
Yeah.
That had me as a kid. I still felt that little tingle as an adult, but I do have to agree. I think Scorpion Johnny Cage is the highlight. Do you have a highlight, Stephan? Something that sticks out to you where it's just like, I liked this.
I'm not sure I do.
Your cold, dead heart. Just. Well, how about you out there? What's your favorite part of the Mortal Kombat movie? That's on you.
You
Will be next.
will tell us your favorite part of the
Your
movie.
comments and likes and subscribes are mine.
Sucking out your muscle.
Your algorithm is mine.
Bones? Your bones are mine.
Thanks for watching. This. Yeah.
Thank you for sucking our bones.
Now fuck off.
Or don't. You can click other videos too.